Act like you know how this goes.
Great show, everybody. Shall we? Looking people out there, and welcome to an all-new episode of the OH.Report video podcast, streaming from downtown Mansfield here at OH.Report World Headquarters. It's only been a couple of weeks since we got to hang out together on a Monday night, but I've missed you all very dearly. These times that we get to spend together, they're always very precious in my mind, and we've got a great show. Lots have happened, of course, between the last few weeks and now, but we got a special edition of the program going down tonight. We're going to focus 100% on girls basketball and the playoffs. The tournament draw went down yesterday, and we're going to talk to 4 different girls basketball coaches right here in the area. I'm Brian Skronsky, your host. If you didn't know that, if you're a first-time person tuning in, it's going to be me chatting with these coaches along with the OH Prince of West Virginia, Mr. Travis Berardi, properly attired.
Prince, huh? Prince, okay, I'll take it. Basketball tournament season's here.
It's here, baby.
Sick once again, but oh well. Fought through it. Some good games over the last week. Not even girls. Congratulations, Northmore Golden Knights, clinching a K-MAC championship. Congratulations, Lexington Minutemen, clinching a championship on the boys' side. A lot of teams, but we are here to talk about girls high school hoops, and we have a lot of squads, Brian, that have a shot, I think, at going down to Dayton in the state Final Four. But we got a long way to get through that. We'll get through all the brackets and everything.
Yeah, you're clearly
like
excited.
Yeah. I'm pumped.
I checked your Twitter.
Pumped.
I saw on the feed Christmas season way behind us, but you said this might be the most wonderful time of year.
February, March Madness. But, I take the tourney tour. We cover 50, 60 games. I think it seems like we have a huge, and it's in a 3-4 week span as well, but I wouldn't change anything.
So it's a good thing you better get over your illness now.
Yeah, I'm glad I got it now, I guess, instead of when I'm not going to be sleeping much because I'm going to be going all around the state. But let's get on with the show.
So tonight we're going to talk about some of the matchups, of course, in the girls basketball playoffs, where you got a couple of brackets that we're going to dive into. We'll have Travis, Big League, Lenardi, Berardi break it down, kind of dissect what he thinks is going to happen, some prognostication, if you will. Jerry Vent and members of the Upper Sandusky Lady Rams basketball
last
team,
year's
they have
district
been
runners-up.
Smoking hot here lately. They're going to be coming off a practice. They're actually practicing now, live as we speak. A little bit late. Well, we'll see why Jerry and the gang are out there on the mountaintop getting in the work right now. Amy Taylor Sheldon of the Wynford Lady Royals also going to call in. Got a legend going to be jumping on the line. And Nick Vukovic of Mount Gilead coming off that run to the district finals. Maybe could we see an encore, you think, from this group?
I don't know. Yeah, they have the ability to. That K-Mac schedule, just people are beating up on each other, but it's whoever is peaking at the right time. They have the pieces to do so. They had injuries early on, but I just think anybody that gets hot at this right time, except for one team that's been hot all season long, Brian.
All right, I say we start the show tonight with a coach of maybe the most dominant team for a small school in the entire state of Ohio.
Easily, yes.
Debatable. This man is also an athletic director on top of being a coach, and now a proud papa of not just one, but two little human beings.
And no sleep.
No sleep whatsoever, but I'm sure he still looks great. Give it up for the great and powerful Tyler Bates.
What's up, Coach?
Yes, sir.
No sleep is right. No sleep.
When was the last time that you got more than 4 solid hours consecutive, Tyler? What kind of streak are we working on now?
Not since Baby Monroe has joined us here a couple weeks ago. Last night, I think 4 minutes would have been nice, but here we are, and kids are a blessing, so we're not going to complain at all.
Well, you're on duty tonight. You're up by the lake. It looks like you're in a very nice school, Port Clinton. What's the vibe out there and kind of the scouting report? What are you getting into tonight?
Well, we'll see if this was a good decision to come up here on a Monday night when we have 2 more games this week. But the beautiful beaches of Lake Erie were nice to see as we drove across the bridge up here to Port Clinton. Great hospitality for us here, and we're just here trying to play another good game. Port Clinton has D.C. Lanier, stud point guard, 1,600 points in her career, so it'll be a great test for us tonight.
Let's talk a little bit more just about parenthood and just, how much are you able to really balance your life at this moment, Tyler? Because the new parents, you always hear all the warnings, and now that you've had one, obviously you got a little bit of experience, but bringing in that second bundle of joy, that's a whole new game changer. So you got a lot of different job responsibilities, of course, of the school and coaching, being one of the best teams in the state. What's the juggling process like over these last couple of weeks, and how are you surviving, man?
Well, first off, my wife and her parents and my parents and our families have just been awesome, as has my coaching staff and our team. They understand that right now I'm a dad first, and that's where my focus is at. Then we have work, then we have basketball. I'm on paternity leave right now from work, so everybody at the high school has been picking up a lot of slack in the office, and I've been doing as much work as I can at night, in the mornings, when I'm in the car with my wife and she's driving, trying to answer emails, make calls, do things like that. But it's definitely been a team effort as far as getting things done, and certainly parenthood changes things. I think my kids and their parents would tell you I'm probably a lot more mellow now maybe than I was 5 or 8 or 10 years ago, but I think as life happens, you realize what's really important. And I care a lot about basketball. I know my coaches and our players and their families do, but there's a lot more important things in basketball at the end of the day. So we're going to do our best, but we're going to keep the main things, and just let the chips fall.
I know that paternity leave, it's becoming kind of a big thing around the United States. A lot of proud papas like you getting some more time to spend with the baby when it's brand new. And then, of course, the mom needs all the help that she can get. So I'm glad that that's all working out. If you're going to need like a night off, though, and you got to call in one of your athletes to play babysitter for the night, who would you say would be the top kid that you think would be most responsible, that you would be most willing to leave your brand new child with?
Well, with the paternity leave, I feel like if I didn't have a 15-month-old in addition to the new daughter that we have last week, it would be a little bit easier. So the 2 under a year and a half has been tough, but I have been able to take my son Taysom to some practices, and all the girls do a great job with him. Corey tells me and Whitney all the time that she is Taysom and Monroe's godmother. So she will inherit some of that responsibility if push comes to shove there. But we've got a great group of kids, and we would trust our kids with any of them. They've been a great help too when I have to bring Taysom to practice, and he wants to hang out with Dad in the gym. So it's been awesome.
So Corey's a godmother, one of the best players in the entire state. Travis over here, he tracks the stat leaders for the area, and she's right up there with the Triple Crown, okay? She's one of those players right in the top 3 in the area, and the rebounds, the scoring, and the assists. So that's one heck of a player that you have. You're seeing the value, of course, on paper, that kind of a special kind of player to have.
Yeah, she's leading in points. She's 0.3 rebounds and 0.3 assists away from the lead there. She could easily be a Triple Crown winner, defending the D3 Player of the Year. She could be the D4 Player of the Year this year, and she's going to be up for Miss Basketball in Ohio. But let's talk a little bit about her sister, Maya. How has she progressed this season to help, get that 1-2 Vermillion punch, but then help out Spangler and Williams as well, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Some of our best teams we've had at Loudonville, we've had good freshmen that come in right away and contribute. I think you're just maybe waiting for a little bit more of that energy, some of that offensive punch. And Maya certainly gives that to us. Our 3 seniors, we spoke at the beginning of the year, and they understood if you let Maya be herself and work through mistakes, but be aggressive and be a key player on this team, it's going to help us a lot more as a team. We're going to go a lot farther than if we try to make sure we put her in her place and treat her as a freshman. And, some of the cliches you hear about, we don't believe that in our program. I mean, if you can play and you put in the time, we want you to help us. And Maya's certainly done that. And I think our seniors and the rest of the team have reaped the benefits from it for sure, because, we've seen some games where teams are really focusing on those 3 seniors, and Maya comes out 3 threes in a row, 9-0 run, and that really changes things for you defensively when you're trying to prepare. So she's been a blessing, and I'm really proud of her. Honestly, if you look at a 16-1 team that's ranked like top 5 in the state, and you have a girl averaging 16 points a game on that team, you're going to be talking about her for some serious honors. But she's taken a back seat to some of these girls this year, but it certainly shouldn't diminish the season she's having, because it's been outstanding.
Yeah, Baby Sis has been going off. You're absolutely right. Those numbers on just about any other team in the area, she's going to be the top billing. She's going to get all the headlines. But as you're seeing some of this video go down of Corey, I mean, like we were just alluding to, this girl's just a little bit different, cut from a cloth that not very many have been in the history of the state. Have you seen a better player this whole year than Corey Vermillion, or is this just about as good as it gets for the entire Buckeye State?
No, I mean, I'm taking Corey over anyone in Division IV. I think everyone knows that I feel that way. I think she's proven herself. We went up to Warrensville Heights in a true road game in a crazy environment a couple weeks ago, and she had 23 points and 21 rebounds against the number 1 ranked team in Division III in Northeast Ohio. So that's the kind of effort we get from her all the time. 59 against Mansfield Senior last year. She had, I think, 25 points and 22 rebounds in a district final her sophomore year. So we're used to it with her. I think where the stats might lie a little bit this year, I think she's down maybe 2 points a game, maybe down a rebound a game. Her assists are up. She's defending at a higher level. But, she is totally – and along with our other kids, I mean, Spangler, Williams, I think everyone who returned last year, their numbers are down a little bit this year. they've been all about trying to win games. And we know that means balance. And it's meant Corey hasn't got to play some fourth quarters. And it's meant that she's taken a back seat and been a creator and a playmaker for some of her teammates at times throughout the year. And she's had to pick her spots. I just think that's the maturation of her game that we've seen over the years, where she's went from this kid that plays extremely hard and just kills you on the offensive glass and just puts up these incredible numbers to now doing it efficiently and making sure that we have other kids on the team eating too, because she knows that's what it's going to take for us to win in the tournament.
And, I mean, getting that Warrensville Heights game in before the district draw really helped, because it showed that you could compete against the top team in Division III, and it showed that everybody in the top 5 in your district didn't want anything to do with you.
They went running, Tyler.
They went to the other 2 districts. You got the 1 seed. It allowed you to choose which district you wanted to play in that regional semi. You picked the Willard district, which I believe is a very good choice for you guys. But not only that, they avoided you. Just looking at the bracket right now, I know you're looking at one game at a time, but I'm looking ahead because I can. The 37th and 38th seeded teams, the last 2 teams in the region, in the district, you're going to play them in a sectional. Then you'll either get a 17, a 15, or a 20 in a district semi, and then maybe you'll get a 6 or a 9 seed in that district championship. Just what's that say about the respect Loudonville's getting this year, that nobody highly ranked wants a piece of you guys into at least a district championship?
Well, I always appreciate, when I get to talk to other coaches and they say nice things about our team and our program. I mean, the girls work really hard. We feel like across the state we get a lot of respect. We feel like sometimes in certain areas around our school we don't get that much respect, as funny as that sounds. So it's just, who we're talking to on a given day as far as the respect piece comes in. But, I think earning that number 1 seed, it wasn't handed to us. We had to go out and play good teams and win enough games to be the number 1 seed with the new RPI formula. That does mean a lot, because it means that you're trying to do things with the schedule, which obviously we've had to make a lot of changes to the schedule this year. We're just trying to do the best we can to play good teams and get ready for the tournament. So when other teams look at that and say, hey, maybe we don't want to play those guys right away, it is a compliment and it's nice to see. But we know no matter who we have to play, whether it's the rest of the regular season, we have some tough games left. Or starting with the sectionals into the districts, if we're lucky enough to get there, we're going to have to play ball. We know how tournament basketball works, and you've got to take it one day at a time, and you've got to have some good luck, too, along the way.
Well, obviously your record speaks for itself, and you got the recognition that you deserve in terms of that number 1 ranking. A lot of power to be able to pick which region you get to go against, and then everyone kind of avoiding you. So it seems like kind of the red carpet has been rolled out for the Redbirds to try to make a deep run like we've all anticipated you would have this season. And you've really beefed up your schedule in the second half, dropped a couple of teams, added a couple of new ones. So I think that also kind of shows that you know what you have at your disposal going up on the road on a Monday night here at Port Clinton. And I know that you got to get your team ready. You got to get it prepared here in a minute, Tyler. So before I cut you loose, this is the official kickoff to Super Week. We got the big game coming up on Sunday. I'd like to get a prediction from you. What you see it going down out there in Vegas. You favoring the Niners? You like Kansas City? What's going to happen on Sunday?
I think Shanahan's done a great job with the Niners. They're in it every year. And with a lot of guys that when he took over, people weren't saying this was amazing talent. He's developed those players into some amazing talents, some all-pro talents. I'm never betting against Mahomes, ever. I don't care who his receivers, running backs, tight ends are, his coordinators. Mahomes, not betting against him for the Super Bowl. So I would pick the Chiefs. And I'm interested to see, you're hearing some rumblings about Andy Reid. What are some of these guys going to do on the Chiefs if they win it again here? It seems like they're set up for a long time, but we'll see what happens after this game this week. It could be interesting. I think the Chiefs are going to win.
I think that's a wise pick on your end. Rings talk Mahomes looking to get a 3rd already for the hands. So I think my money's going to lie where yours is, Tyler. But when it comes to girls Division IV basketball, in Vermillion, I trust Tyler Bates. You always got to be in your corner, too. So if I had to throw some money down on any game this year, we're taking the Lady Redbirds, buddy.
Oh, that means a lot. We'll be talking about that soon enough, I'm sure, the way things are going. So I appreciate that, man. Thank you guys for having me.
My
Thanks,
pleasure.
Coach.
The great Tyler Bates. Thanks for joining us, man. And to Tyler's point, Travis, I don't think we are too far off maybe from getting legalized gambling on high school sports. Could we see the OH Report bet app coming in the next 5 years? Like, are we honestly like trending in that direction, do you
Man, it's
think?
taken me hours to get these brackets together. You think we're going to try and get a betting app together? However, looking at their first matchup, what's the spread you're going to give Loudonville against their first opponent in Youngstown Valley Christian? Their first matchup, 30 and a half points, something like that?
I think it might be a little bit more. Maybe about like 35. I'd say about 35 and a half would probably be the spread on that thing.
Yeah, but Loudonville, their first matchup is, like I said, against Valley Christian. They'll take them on February 21st at 7 o'clock right there, Thursday at the Bird Cage. 16-1 versus 1-17. Yeah, 31 and a half points, probably the spread that we'd give them if there were an OH Report bet, but there's not. We're joking, OHSAA. Don't do anything.
Not yet. We'll see.
Not yet. We'll see.
Maybe the floodgates are
But
going to open.
this is their path. They have the 37th out of 38 seeds in the first round. Sectional final is against the 38th and last seed in Warren Lordstown. And then they'll either face a Bristol team that has some regional experience, but they're down for the last couple of years. They're at 17. Lowellville, McDonald, a 15-20 seed is a sectional. So that's the three teams they could find in a district semifinal. Then on the bottom you have Salingville Southern, a 6, or Mogador, a 9. Those are probably the two teams that would face because the other squad's really nothing. So that's your D4 Northeast 3 district. As Loudonville, yeah, they've got this pretty much set up. And then they'll play the Willard district, which we looked at that real quick, but they'll take them on later on. But Loudonville's got a good path.
So you're telling me there's a really good shot they might end up in a district championship?
Easily, yes. Yes, I'm going to give you like a 94%. Yeah, 94%
Just
success
a
rate of making
little
it there.
ajar in the window.
Well, you always
for a
had,
team to
you
sneak
always had,
through.
there could be that little wrench thrown in there. We still have a few weeks before even the tournament starts. You never know. But right now, ESPN has that percentage thing of when I think I'm giving them a 94% chance of making it to the district championship.
Well, you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge an upset, Travis. That's how I'm looking at this. Let's get on to our next guest, shall we?
Yes.
This gentleman is a sharp dresser on the
Absolutely.
sideline. I'm
Yes.
told also a sharp shooter back in his day. Just led his team to the first ever KMAC championship for a team not named Cardington Lincoln this last year. Also went the furthest in the tournament that this program has ever achieved on their journey. We've got the one, the only, Nick Vukovic.
Book.
Hey guys, what's going on?
How you doing, Coach?
Just had a good practice today, so doing good, feeling good about today. So hopefully we carry that over tomorrow and have a good game.
I was just talking about the achievements of last season. Let's relive some real quick because obviously you hang up the league title banner. You had the nice run in the tournament. So there's got to be a lot of memories when you start thinking back, when you get some quality time, maybe sitting on the back porch during the summer, Coach. What are some of your favorite memories that come to mind from last year's bunch?
Probably first and foremost was just winning conference. That's the first outright conference Mountain Gilead's had in 45 years. I think in 2011 they tied in the MOAC because it was a red and blue division. But winning that conference outright, watching the kids enjoy the game day in and day out, coming to practice, working hard, those things I take with me. Those things when I look back and smile and I'm like, you know what, we did it the right way. We built our defense up first, led to offense. And when you got a point guard like we did last year with Madeline Elson, who was our floor general, our locker room general, and kept everybody under control, as a coach, your job gets a little bit easier. So looking back, that's probably the best memory I have. I mean, don't get me wrong, being the number 3 team in the state was pretty awesome. Going to the district title game as a coach, I've been there as a player a few times, but as a coach was pretty memorable. But the conference championship meant a lot more to me because that community really needed that.
Well, coming off of that very successful season, you could say the best that Mount Gilead has ever had. Obviously, a lot of anticipation. You guys wanted to have kind of an encore type of campaign. So how would you say that's affected the girls, the mentality heading into this season? And how do you think that they've handled maybe that little extra added pressure now that they got some new ink on the banner up there in the gym?
Well, we talked about that today in practice, actually. We talked about climbing to the top of the mountain's hard, but staying up there is harder. So, I mean, we had to give credit to teams that, do it year after year after year. I think we had a very good off-season in terms of, like, shootouts. We were winning more than we were losing. Scrimmages, we were winning more than we were losing. We started out 4-1, and then we get an injury. And then we became younger, which is extremely hard when you're talking to kids who are sophomores who don't have zero experience on varsity except for cleanup duty last year. So these kids are being moved around different situations. And I think it kind of, the pressure got to them a little bit, which is understandable. When you're young and you don't have that varsity experience, you kind of handle pressure differently. So we talked about, let's just play our game. Let's get back to our identity. And I think once we start doing that, I think we'll be all right. And the younger kids are finally understanding, like, they don't have to fill shoes. They just have to be the best version of themselves. And that's all we truly ask of them this year.
Well, you're playing in a pretty loaded conference, I would say, this season. Travis, K-Mac, Trav, and I, of course, we're down in K-Mac country all the time, and we're seeing you guys with our own eyes. And, there's really no easy outs. Even you look at some of the bottom feeders in the conference, like the Northmores and the East Knox, they've been nipping and knocking some people off lately, as you know, of course. And then at the top, some really good teams there as well. So navigating through this K-Mac, since you've been coach over there, is this about as good as you've seen it from top to bottom? Because it definitely feels like on any given night, any team can pop up and win. And of course, some of those teams up at the top, like a Centerburg, who's maybe emerged as the top elite talent that you have in the league. I mean, there's some pretty darn good teams that are up there competing for the top couple spots.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Centerburg, they beat us last year. I think we had 3 losses last year, and they were one of them. So we knew they were coming. Danville, they're always loaded. They're well coached. So we obviously worried about them. And Cardington, I mean, you can't take anything away from Cardington. They got talent, I mean, from top to bottom. They have an outstanding freshman in Berkey. So the top of it's pretty heavy. And like we told our kids, we just got to play our game and stuff like that and try to stay at the top. We're one bucket away from beating Cardington at home. Northmore, got us at third place. East Knox got us at third place, where they just hit shots that we couldn't hit. So, I mean, it's a conference that if you don't take it seriously, if you don't give the teams the respect they deserve, you go and say, oh, we beat them by 20 last time, or we beat them by 10 last time, this should be an easy win. They will beat you. And we found that out this year. Our kids kind of took the approach of, hey, we beat them last time. We don't have to work as hard. And, our mental aspect of the game was different. So once we got that under control, I think we'll be fine.
And you just kind of touched on it. It's been an interesting last couple of weeks for you guys. Losses to teams like Bucyrus and East Knox. You beat a team like Cardington over at their place. What would you say your evaluation is of your squad from top to bottom? And how do you guys get more consistent play out of yourselves? What do you see from your girls when they come out and they've got the winning formula on that given night?
If they come out with the mindset that we're going to be a defensive-minded team first and let that lead to our offense, I put us up against anybody in our conference. You pick a court, pick a team, we'll be there. And we'll be very, very competitive, and we'll be a hard out. It's when they get in that panic mode. Like I said, you're dealing with young kids who haven't been in this situation before. So when they get in that panic mode, that's when you're like, well, okay, we got to reel it back real quick and try to calm them down, make them stay patient. It's been the word of the year is patience. But, like I said, we're young. Aubrey Thomas is the only kid back from last year's team with significant minutes. Faith White got hurt game 15 last year, didn't play the rest of the season. Ava Baker got hurt before tournaments, didn't play all the tournaments. And Danielle played limited minutes last year. She was JV most of the year. We had to bring her up because of injuries. So, these kids, once they learn to settle down, play their game, then play the team game, I think we could be a dangerous team in tournaments.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you guys play in the tournament, of course. And it's not just the younger generation that, we go into that panic mode. I mean, we still get it as adults, too. I mean, Travis, when he goes through the McDonald's drive-thru, when they say the shake machine is down, we're talking about instant panic.
Is it ever open, though?
Has it? I don't know. I think there's a big debate out there. Is the McFlurry, do they even still make those? Can you get those, or is it just the shakes that are never available? Are you not doing the McDonald's anymore?
Every once in a while, but I don't even ask anymore.
Yeah, we're told there's a lawsuit impending right now on McDonald's.
Is that a patience thing or is that a panic thing? I mean, those are two different things.
Right? Yeah.
I think it could be a little bit of both, Vuk. But if let's say you're on the hills of a nice long practice, you don't really want to go home and get in the kitchen. Do you have a go-to drive-through that is kind of your little sneaky vice that you like to get on the ride home?
I drive by a Wendy's every day. So Wendy's number 2, no pickle with a Coke and make it medium size.
Oh, my God. I think you're kind of missing out the no pickle. It kind of sets off the whole hamburger, but to each their own. Travis, what do you got for Coach Vuk tonight?
Well, we know we're going to play now. You went right after the 3 seed. You're taking on Madison Christian at Groveport. Just what did you like about that matchup? I know Danville, they got the 5 seed right ahead of you, and they took a spot that's really good for them to maybe get to a district semifinal. But you had some positions you could have gone, but you went right at the 3. Explain why you guys have the confidence to go right at a top squad.
Well, to be honest with you, this is probably the weirdest seeding I've ever been a part of. The top 2 seeds passed a total of 6 times.
Really?
So when Danville slotted themselves, the top 2 seeds passed again. It came down to us. So I had 2 avenues to take. I could take on a Madison Christian, sit now, give me 2 weeks to scout them, put a game plan together, and go at them. Or I could take an empty line and then have one of the top 2 seeds come directly towards us and play them first round. I didn't know what they were going to do since they kept on passing. So I wanted to control our narrative. So we played Madison Christian last year. We know kind of what they have. We know they got that Kylie Ray. She's probably their best player. She does everything for them. She scores, she rebounds. So I think we match up well against them. So I went ahead and took that avenue. So I kind of control our narrative. I didn't want us to take a first round game and New York Catholic or Fisher Catholic says, guess what? We won't play Mount Gilead first round. So I kind of controlled our narrative. So that's why I went at them. I figured we go at them, we have a shot. I think we have a real good shot if we play together. And then, obviously we'll play the winner of the Wellington game. And even if we play Wellington, we know they got a couple of good guards, but I like our guards. I think our guards are finally starting to put stuff together as far as offensively. We clean up the defense, and I think we can get back to the district semis.
And you know what? I was just watching Survive and Advance, that 30 for 30 earlier. Why not be like Coach Valvano, huh? Coach Vuk, Coach V, right there.
Yeah,
maybe takes his squad to cutting down the nets.
Well, we got some parallels going on there, and it seems like a confident coach. He says he'll take his guards over theirs. You see already kind of thinking I got a couple weeks to prepare. Now that he's got that tournament resume and those wins, Coach, would you say that you're going in to this year's tournament, feel like you got a little bit more bravado this season, given that you've been there and you did it last year?
Well, don't get me wrong. It kind of played on my mind a little bit when New York Catholic passed again after Danville selected. And then they came down to our side of the bracket. Well, last time I checked, they were number 3 in the state. We have one of those wins under our belt. I mean, it would be great to do back-to-back years upsetting the top 5 team. So we just got to focus on Madison Christian first. We got to take care of business. If we get the opportunity to play New York Catholic in a district semis, who knows? Maybe we can pull magic off again.
Well, we'll definitely be looking forward to watching the journey progress. We hope that it is a long one. You got 2 people in your corner right here at the OH Report, pulling for you all the way, Coach Vuk. Go out and get it done, buddy.
Hey, thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Coach.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the time. Coach Vukovic, all the way from the reservation. I gotta say, I kind of like the swagger that he's talking with there, and he knows they've had some ups and downs. They've lost to a couple teams I think they felt like they probably should have beat just on senior day, on Saturday. You probably don't like that loss to Bucyrus, but they've jumped up and they've knocked off some top teams too. So on any given night, that's the beauty of the tournament. Everyone gets in, and with them too, all those teams passing, that's kind of interesting, and it allots them an opportunity to go after one of the top dogs, know that you're going to play them. So I kind of dig the strategy, knowing, hey, let's watch tape, let's go out and scout them in person, and then when we show up on game night, we're going to have 2 weeks worth where we're kind of looking forward to this one. Yeah, and that's the thing now with the Central District. I didn't know you could skip that many times. Now in other districts, you only have a few chances to skip, but for them, I like the chess match that they had for it, because you saw Newark Catholic win for that top spot in that side, so you knew Newark Catholic was probably going to go after Mount Gilead if they picked an open spot. So Coach Vuk went with the more favorable thing and then say, hey, we get a couple wins under our belt, then we will go right after them. And then even with Danville, I think I like where they were slotted because of those skips. They put themselves in a favorable for 2 wins, maybe to get them into a district semifinal against the second-seeded squad there. So. But best of luck to the KMAC squads. They have been battle-tested this year. They play some decent non-conference opponents as well. And if you're hot at the right times, you take a look at the full bracket. You get hot at the right time, you get a couple wins, and you never know what can happen. Yeah, that's all it takes. And I like the outlook, too, that if you get that first win, hey, all bets are off. Maybe you can advance, get into that round of district play, and get to play some other seeds. You never know that there can be upsets. I mean, look at Danville, the 5-14. They get past the 14. They face a Ridgedale squad that did not. Ridgedale not just lose to East Knox. East Knox got beat pretty bad too. So Danville handled East Knox and Devil Dogs. So it's looking like a decent path for them to get there to take on that Fisher Catholic squad that won the district championship last year and knocked them off in the district semifinal last year. So a little, maybe payback for Danville as well. And then on the other side with Mount Gilead, they made the run last year. Let's see if they can do it again. Let's find out. All right, let's keep the show moving along now, Travis, because we've got another spectacular guest on the way. Yes, we do. This young lady is a coal miner's daughter from the blue-collar town of Bel Air, Ohio. Not sure if you've heard of it. Yeah, it's right across the river from where I went to high school. That's right. She has since turned into one of the most legendary coaches that we have here in North Central Ohio. She's been trolling the sidelines over at Wynford for almost 30 years now, but as much time as she spends coaching up those Lady Royals, she probably spends about as much time just washing the sweat out of the rags from her husband, who seems to be collecting a lot of that. Please give it up for one of the best to ever do it in our own backyard, Amy Taylor Sheldon of the Lady Royals.
Thank you very much.
It's always good having another Ohio Valiant on the show.
Hey, yeah, it's great.
I see you're supporting WVU with your sweatshirt there tonight.
Yeah, even though they're not in a good place on the basketball side, the women's basketball team doing really good, but no matter what, blue and gold through and through.
The discussion at our dinner table tonight was, will Huggins be the next coach at Ohio State?
Well, I heard Louisville possibly.
And Marshall.
Oh no, not the rival. That'd be like you getting a job at Martins Ferry High School.
Oh well, if the price is right? Some people have a price.
That's Blair's big rival, Brian. Just to let you know.
Well, it's almost like having your husband coach over at Colonel Crawford. It's about that wild, I would say, Amy. And I said kind of tongue-in-cheek, all the laundry that you have going on with David and his obviously well-known sweat talents, but there's a lot of basketball that goes on in your house. So obviously, there's a lot of stinky gym shorts and socks and the whole 9 yards. I mean, how many loads of laundry are you having to do on any given day just to keep up with all the athletics that are going on in your house?
You'd have to ask David, because he does the laundry at our house.
Well, all right.
How about that? Well, what a man. Mr. Mom out there getting it done. That's a side of David Sheldon that I don't think a whole lot of people know. So.
Yeah, well, it has to be teamwork or we couldn't survive. So he's an awesome dad.
Yeah, and probably once you grab that first sweaty towel and you got a taste of it, that was enough for you, right? He can handle that moving forward.
Yeah, he used to wear dress shirts and ties and that was with that.
I heard the
ended
legend.
quickly.
I heard that lasted for about 1 week. He wanted to emulate Coach Baylog, kind of be like him, and he was like, you know what, there's levels to everything. I don't know if a tie really suits me here on the sidelines, and that was it, right?
Correct.
Well, you're getting to coach your daughter right now, which obviously a very special thing. You got a freshman in Caroline having a fantastic debut here at the high school ranks. So with you two, is it all hoops all the time? Is that your big interest? It sounds like that's what you're talking about right now at the kitchen table. Or do you guys have other experiences that you like to do to get in that mother-daughter bonding?
It's mostly basketball, to be honest, especially this time of year. Caroline is a sports junkie, especially NFL, NBA. So that's more like David's area, but we do like to probably during the downtime in the summer times when we like to go back to the valley where my mom still lives and spend time with our family doing that. That's probably driving in the car. We have lots of hours in the car, so that's time well spent.
What would you say are some of the perks and then also the pitfalls of having your daughter also be your starting point guard?
The perks are definitely, I mean, she's grown up in the gym. She understands a lot of the game. But part of it is, does she know too much? So,
Yeah.
For example, when we lost to one early and she was like, oh, practice is going to be miserable tomorrow. And I was like, how do you know? You've never been in a practice after we've had a big loss. So sometimes it's just a little bit like more questioning than maybe that I'm used to. But she is a student of the game and understands that. And then I have a 7th grade daughter who understands a lot about the game too. So that it's been really good. But having so many freshmen is a roller coaster, so that would definitely be the pitfall.
I think it's just the younger generation. They question everything. If you tell them, just breathe, well, why, Mom? What's the point of this? It doesn't matter what it is, Amy. They're going to have to know exactly why it's valuable. But you talked about that freshman class that Caroline has come up the ranks with, and obviously they've been together and killing it for their entire careers now. But that's more than half of your varsity roster. You're talking about a bunch of 14 and 15-year-old kids that you're having to rely on going up against, juniors and seniors. So how have you guys been able to navigate those waters, and what have they really brought to the equation? Because I know this is a group, they don't like losing at anything, very competitive nature.
Yes, they that MOBL league that Nick has run, Vukovic and Shane Grove, they won throughout that and junior high. So this is the first they've really been challenged, and half are on JV and half are on varsity. So that has been a challenge. But, they get along really well. These are kids that are friends inside of basketball, outside of basketball, even though that they are on a little bit different teams. They're very supportive. They spend a lot of time together. And they're still competitive. They still are coming in practice happy and eager and ready to learn. We've had a rough second half here in the league for sure. Maybe one of the roughest of my career, but we also, the first half, we had one of our best starts. So trying to find some consistency here in the last fourth of the season in order to get ready for the tournaments.
Yeah, you had one of the best starts in all the area. You won 8 of your first 9 games, 12 wins already on the season. Given how young your roster is, have you been surprised or impressed by how well you've competed in the Northern 10 Conference? There's a lot of killers in that league. I mean, there's plenty of talent out there. So to be at this position where you're at now, would you say they've exceeded expectations?
Well, I think they definitely exceeded expectations in 2023. 2024 has been up and down for sure. We have beat the best in the league and we've lost to the worst in the league. But the worst in the league just beat Colonel Crawford tonight. So
we saw that. That's crazy.
This is by far the most competitive, most balanced league. Was in the NCC before the N10 that I've ever been a part of. So kids are competing, and we have a lot of good coaches in our league. So I think that's my brother-in-law asked me a couple weeks ago, how many teams that you play call out your sets in your league? And I said, all of them, and I think that's been more of a, a boys type of scenario in terms of scouting and preparation. But Bill Loy, Zach Bauer, Jerry Vent, Brian Seibert, all of the coaches in our league prepare very well in order to be ready to either knock somebody off or to compete or stay on top. So it has been really good. I've been, I have to remind myself to enjoy the now. But we have just a great group of kids, and they work really hard, and, we're proud of what they've done this year. Keep on going.
Yeah, it's been an unbelievable league to keep an eye on so far this year. And like you said, it is very congested now in the middle with Colonel Crawford going down. It definitely opens up the window for teams like Cary. Upper Sandusky is only like a game and a half back. And Travis, you have Northern 10 basically making up almost all of your top
Yeah, you guys
five,
have to screw up my country roads rankings on both sides because everybody's beating up on each other. But let's get ahead because I know you coaches think about the next game. Well, I'm thinking about the tournament time since the brackets come out. And it's an interesting look because it looks kind of like last year's bracket for you guys, a first-round sectional semi and then Colonel Crawford in the sectional final. And if I remember correctly, you guys upset them to get to the district semi before falling to Margaretta. Right. What made this matchup first for Bucyrus look good, and then the possible rematch with Colonel Crawford?
Well, I think that in turn, like figuring things out, and that would be a difference in the RPI this year. Actually, would be so at the first round we beat Upper Sandusky head to head. When you have votes from coaches and they were like, "Oh, you have the same record. Who beat each other head to head?" It would most likely have been that we would have had the 4 seed, but the RPI, because we've had the second half of the season hasn't been as good, and we've lost to some teams with lower records, that didn't help us. So Upper went above us for the 4 seed. So that's an interesting piece that, it really takes the politics out of and tries to make it as fair as possible. So for us, we, literally hundredths of a point. So, but in terms of going to the bracket and trying to decide, ultimately, we thought that Bucyrus might jump on us given the opportunity because they beat us second time, and then same thing for us with Crawford. So, we're in a bracket where we have confidence beating people and prepared. Many times in the past, we've gone routes of unfamiliar opponents just for, the rivalry, the lack of rivalry, or that, just from scouting and being familiar. So, but, we feel good about the bracket that we're in, and Upper is having a great second half of the season, and of course, Clear Fork and Margaretta have had incredible years.
With you and David in the same household, coaching for so long, just how long, I guess, do you guys strategize, thinking some scenarios of where you're going to go and things like that, and knowing the seeds come out a day, 24 hours before the draw? How much do you guys, do you talk about it together about what you think you want to do, or is that just, you look at the bracket and think this is the best path that I may have?
Yeah, we'll talk about what is basically the best path that we would have. And again, sometimes people want to play, sometimes they pick the bye, and then you think, okay, if they pick to play, are you going to take the bye? And of course, David, the last several years, people have sought him out. He doesn't get to pick who he plays. So that's always interesting too. And you always think, did I make the right choice? And did I do my homework? So we, on both sides, we watch everybody, who we could play in advance, just so we would know if they're a good pressing team, or do they have a good center? Do they have good point guard? What's their strength in comparison to our strengths and weaknesses? So there is a fair amount of conversation for that.
Yeah, no stone unturned, I'm sure, when you've been doing it as long as you have, Amy. You're always prepared, you're ready for anything, and always making sure that you're in the best possible position to try to make those deep tournament runs. Real quickly, before we cut you loose, it's the very end of the tournament, of course, for the NFL. We got the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. Are you someone that pays a lot of attention to the league itself and the game, or are you more interested in just the commercials and all of the finger foods?
I would say probably the commercials and the finger foods. Caroline, who do we want to win the Super Bowl? Caroline said neither. She doesn't want either to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, all right. Well, hey, go Browns. This could be our opportunity to jump in there
Exactly.
and get it done.
She would say go Browns all the way. Hey, and I want to just real quick, I wanted to say that 20 years ago, I know that makes me ancient, but 20 years ago, we couldn't even get a local station to post our Friday night scores on television. And we would keep calling and say, well, Wynford won, whatever the scores. And they're like, we're not capable of posting those scores. So I just wanted to say thank you. It's an honor to be on here and to that, girls basketball matters and that we have a voice. And, it's an honor to be a part of your program. And thank you so much for just putting girls basketball on the map here in so many people's living rooms. So we super appreciate it.
Amy, we are
It's our
beyond blessed
Oh,
and
yeah.
privileged to be able to do it for you guys. And we just did the first live stream for Wynford girls basketball at your guys' gym. We did boys basketball, but we're going to have girls here on the way. So we're looking forward to continuing that relationship out there in Royal Country and letting the people know not just the scores, but you can watch live and free when Amy and the girls go toe-to-toe on the hardwood at the gym that you're kind of helping make famous over there. Actually, it's a new one now. You got some nice new walls up around in a cool gym, Amy. So we're going to be there a bunch.
Thank you
We're
guys
looking
so
forward to
much.
it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach.
The legend, Amy Taylor Sheldon. Yeah, pretty cool to have somebody on like that, and especially you threw in a couple questions about the household, and I had to get in, maybe not some shots, but just some jokes about David and just that relationship.
I wanted to know who cleaned the towels and stuff like that.
That's probably
How many
news
do they
to
go
a lot
through
of
in a
people out
week,
there. How many households? Now, I will say this, in my household, I'm the only person that does the laundry correctly. So I try to not allow my girls to be able to do it.
I throw all my clothes in one load because it's $1 per in my apartment. So I just throw all the clothes in there. I layer it though. So I'll fill it up a little bit, put some soap in, put more clothes in, fill it up a little bit more. It just cleans it cleans them out, I think, a little bit more. People are probably yelling at me, no, it doesn't, but that's how I do it, and it works.
Do you add any of those fresh scent pebbles? I don't know
It's
what they're
not good
actually
for the
called.
skin, man.
What are
The
they called?
beads. The
Scent
scent beads.
beads.
They're not good for the skin. They
Oh, is
actually
that a
they
fact?
could cause like rashes and stuff. So I just go with this.
Well, see, I said my boy's been getting some rashes, but he's been smelling really clean.
think
Probably
it's-
stealing
yeah.
some kisses at school, you know what I mean? So I kind of like the extra scent that it
I mean,
puts
it's
on
a
there.
good scent and stuff, but I just go,
They say a whole scoopful. I do about an eighth of
Yeah.
a scoopful, and it seems to get the job done.
I mean, if it doesn't hurt your skin and it smells good, then why not? But I just go with the normal soap, layer it up a little bit, and then just throw it in the dryer. And
We'll have to find out what David's method is. Like, probably it's got to be a lot of bleach to get those towels back to where they should be. That's a new level of
I mean-
perspiration. But I love it.
yeah,
He is one of the best to watch on the sideline. All right, we have one more guest still coming up. But before we get there, let's dive into a couple of other brackets for some areas that we don't have any coaches calling in here tonight. Let's begin with Division II, the Old Fort District. We've got a pair of Richland County teams performing in our own backyard that have two of the top 3 seeds out there and likely are the favorites probably to emerge and get onto the regional. So
and this used to be the Ashland district, but because there are less teams from this part of the district, they're moving it more centralized just to work with everybody else. And there it is, Mansfield Senior. It seems like any boys or girls, whatever you play, it's Ontario Mansfield Senior seems to match up, and that's what we get for that first round. Mansfield Senior also state ranked. The state rankings came out, I think they're 10th in the D2 state rankings, 10th or 9th. So they're right there. They'd play the winner of Port Clinton and Clyde. We'll see what Port Clinton does tonight against Loudonville. And then there's Shelby. Coach Lance going right after Mansfield Senior. She avoided Norwalk. She avoided Bellevue. So she just took the bottom. So we may see a district semifinal between Mansfield Senior and Shelby. And that was a pretty darn good game when they played at Pete Henry Gymnasium.
Yeah, it was. Shelby got themselves into an early hole. They battled back, nearly overcame, and won on the road. But I think the difference between the Lady Tigers teams that we saw from the last couple of seasons and this year is that they're collecting leads, but they're not giving them up at the end of the game. We saw 2 years ago when we did all their home games, they let some teams claw their way back in, and then it ended up being some head-scratching L's. They kind of turned the corner last year, even though I'm not sure what their strategy was in the tournament, going right after the #1 seed in Norwalk when I think they were the 3 seed. That didn't make a ton of sense, but this year, they're the team that's going to be hunted, of course, and everyone has to kind of play on their terms.
Yeah, and that's why they're probably going to play a lower seed. Port Clinton, though, going right at them, but I don't know about that for them. But that's Shelby, Mansfield Senior. And then on the bottom half of the bracket, Lexington, they're a 9 seed, taking on 7 seeded Perkins. They've been getting better as the season's gone on. They've got a couple good, solid players in there. Maybe see an upset from that, but then we get Norwalk. What does Norwalk have coming back? How have they been doing since last year's regional run? It's going to be interesting. It seems like they're a little bit under the radar, especially down in our area, but they've been really showing off this season. We might get a Norwalk-Bellevue. Those games always are big games up there in the SBC. That could be another district semifinal. Toledo Scott, an 8 seed. 9 seed Lexington. So the top seeds, the 2 and the 4, are mainly the ones that took that bottom half of the bracket. Everybody else kind of filed in at the top.
I think Norwalk's going to be such a tough out for anybody.
Absolutely. They have the experience.
Wins, and then last year we saw them make that unbelievable run all the way to the Elite 8. And the Lady Truckers only graduated, I think, 2 players from that team. So a lot of the pieces are back. And when you have that tournament experience, some media pundits or whatever will go back and forth. Does it really matter? The new kids on the block, they can still get it done. But I think certainly just knowing like the timing of what to do with your entire day going into some of those big games, that's going to matter for a team like Norwalk that's got a very talented junior class. And I think could definitely be a team to keep an eye on. But Shelby, too, they always have high expectations with Coach Lance, but I think it's unprecedented what they're doing right now. They've won every MOAC since they have entered the league, and they just got another share again. They got a big game coming up where Marion Pleasant has a chance where they can split it with them.
I'll be there live and free for that one. That's going to be a big game on Thursday night. But, yeah, Shelby, you just can't count them out.
Ever.
Can't count them out. Actually, a couple nights ago, I rewatched that Copley regional semifinal game with the Audie Albert layup with 3 seconds left to win it. It's a Natalie Lance-led team. You're going to get 150% out of all your players when you play for her. And I could see Shelby, she talked to Coach before the River Valley game that they pulled out in the fourth quarter. She thought she didn't play pretty good defense. They didn't play good defense in that first half against Mansfield Senior. And if they can play a full game, she thinks they can compete with Mansfield Senior. I saw them against Bellevue. Same thing happened. They had a slow start, but they battled back. If they can put together a full 4 quarters, they are one of the top teams in this district. But don't count out Mansfield Senior, who has just run through. They had a tough loss against West Holmes to keep that OCC door open a little bit. And then don't count out Santoro and Bellevue or Norwalk, like we said, it's got everybody back. But I like the balance. It's not 3 of those top seeds on one half. It's 2 and 2. So we're going to get one heck of if we go chalk, we're going to have a great district semifinal set there. And then no matter who plays out of those 4 against each other, that's going to make for some good basketball. But don't count anybody else out. This is why you play the tournament. You never know who the Cinderella could be. It could happen, it could not, but that's why they play these tournament games.
Yeah, and I know the madness of March, it tends to kick in and you don't really see it coming, but I can't really envision any scenario where it's not chalk. Those top 4 teams,
they're
to
so
me,
good.
They just seem like they've all got the pedigree. They've been there. Bellevue was running things for a really long time, of course, in Division II, and who says that they're still not? They made a nice deep run last year before getting knocked off a game where they just shot awful against Sandusky Perkins. So I could see them definitely getting into that championship game to take on either the Tigers or the Whippets, but probably going to have to go through Norwalk. So This is going to be a fun district.
But Port Clinton, don't count them out. After 3, Port Clinton 45, Loudonville 45.
Whoa.
So don't count out somebody like a Port Clinton squad that, they were down 3 at the half, down 8 after 1. It's tied in that. So maybe they're the squad. That's why they went right after Mansfield Senior. They think they can play some of the best squads. So that's a score to look forward to also for people in each district in D4 and then in D2.
That'd be big for the Lady Skins taking on a Division 4 team, but
top 5 Division 4 team in the state.
Arguably the best in Division 4 that they have to offer. So let's talk a little bit more about Division 4 and let's look at the tournament, the Willard bracket. And as we check this thing out, maybe not quite the same as what we just saw in Division 2. I don't feel like there's juggernauts in this one that you would just say, you know what? This team obviously looks like they're going to shoot through and be not a guaranteed champion, but look like they got an easy path.
But look at what Buckeye Central just did. They took a bye. They're going to get the winner of Danbury and Lucas. It's Buckeye Central's district to lose. How many years in a row have they won a district championship?
6.
6. So, they keep playing like they've been doing, get a couple more wins in there, and then, they get an extra couple days to prepare for Danbury. I don't know. South Central, though. South Central's played good basketball. They're on that bottom half of the bracket. And then you got Mansfield Christian. New London's been rolling through. Is this the year that Mansfield Christian breaks through and gets to a regional semifinal against a team that beat them 80-18 in Loudonville, which, if Loudonville does what they're supposed to, we already talked about their bracket, but that's the tough thing. This team, this bracket, they're probably playing for a district championship, to be fair at this moment, because the winner would get Loudonville.
Yeah, New London, they've got the pretty record, the 16 wins, 12-0 though in the Firelands, which it's really, New London, South Central, both of them have winning records in the league. Mapleton, too, is slightly above 500. However, it's probably about as down as you have seen the Firelands from top to bottom in quite some time. So I think that New London properly rated. However, if you're not getting those tests during the regular season, South Central the same exact way, playing in the same conference, it's tough to really get an evaluation, I think, of some of these teams.
And this is what I think personally is the downfall of the Max Preps RPI, because it doesn't take into consideration the teams that you play, the divisions that you've played. So if you play a bunch of just over 500 Division 4 teams that are okay, but they have maybe not so hard conference schedules, things like that to boost their win percentage, it's going to make you look a little bit better than maybe a 4 or 5 seed that has a tough schedule and is battle tested. This is what's really going to show. Are we going to see lower seeds win district championships this year when you go into, considering maybe last year if it was voting, they would be a higher seed? This is what's going to determine if this RPI is really working like it should. And it's just going to be interesting to see if we have lower seeds. Like back on that Division 2, is number 5 Port Clinton going to be able to make a run and do things like that? I am very interested to see if we get chalk like we're supposed to, or this RPI needs a little adjustment to take into consideration some other things that they didn't, and a lower seed wins a district championship.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to keep evolving this thing. They probably
it's a good formula, but I think they need to add on a couple little things just to determine, like if you're a D4 playing a D1, things like that. But that's just me. We'll have to find out after the tournament to see, all that stuff.
It's definitely, that's going to be an interesting bracket too. And to your point, I just saw what was considered the worst team in the KMAC play what's considered the second best team out in the Northwest, and it wasn't even close. East Knox.
I just saw that score.
They beat them by about 20. A team that's only won 5 games heading into that one. So when you're playing in a conference that tests you, where every single night you go out there and you're playing against schools that have some quality athletes, good programs, quality coaching, I think, at the forefront. And then you're coming from a conference where I think it's going to be the same thing that we can talk about with the boys coming up next week, like at Crestview. They're undefeated, state ranked. We know they have supreme talent. They don't get to play anybody in their league, so they don't get those looks that you're accustomed to seeing when you're in another league. So how does that impact you when you get on the tournament trail? I mean, we'll find out for some of these teams here, but it's always a question that I think is a good one. If you're not scheduling outside of your conference and getting some supreme talent in your non-league, are you doing yourself a disservice with the new Max Preps RPI?
Are you doing a
interesting
disservice
debate.
to your team, or are you doing a disservice to your seed? That's the two things you want to do. Do you want to get yourself prepared and be a middle seed and then not have a good spot like Coach Vuk maybe, you know, because of the passing? Or do you want to actually get yourselves battle tested and kind of quote unquote be a Cinderella? You know who else is a Cinderella? Our boy K-Mac Plus, Mason Kidwell. He's watching from Cincinnati right now. Hope you're doing well. Hope your studies are good. You know, keep up the good work with your rankings and whatnot there. And also, I do have a score from our pirate ship friend. Cardington defeated Lucas, who is going to be facing Danbury. They're the 12th seed. Cardington 50, Lucas 17. Just a tough year for the Lady Cubs. Continues a little bit here tonight.
When you graduate a girl that led you in every statistical category,
every
that's now a
sport.
D1 athlete that's competing at track and doing some big things already on the indoor, and we're expecting to go off for a big season as a true freshman, it's gonna take some time.
Yeah.
Probably to bounce back from that.
And while we have a couple minutes while Coach Vent and his squad's finishing practice, we do have the Division III Central District brackets. That's
Sure.
our K-Mac squad. Speaking of Mason, let's pull up, Adam, if you'll bring up the Central 2 districts. That is the Northmore Golden Knights, that's East Knox, and that is the Pleasant Lady Spartans. We pulled that up, and there could be an intriguing matchup coming into that district's, into that sectional semifinal. You see the Golden Knights, 22 seed, but they would face possibly the Pleasant Lady Spartans in that second round. Pleasant taking on Fairbanks in their sectional semifinal. That game on the 20th, they would face at Pleasant on the 23rd, a 7 o'clock game. And then you look at, well, that's the, yeah, and then the top part of that bracket as well. You have Johnstown Monroe, Fredericktown up there as well. The Lady Freddies will take on Tree of Life Christian at home. They'll probably take on Johnstown. And then East Knox taking on #1 Mechanicsburg. That's a tough one for the Lady Bulldogs after, you know, a couple big wins at the end of the season. They'll get a test, I guess to say.
Playing with some confidence, though, so they're not going to be heading into the tournament feeling like they're a big underdog, even though that's kind of the role and then the chip on their shoulder that they like to put there. So a couple interesting teams in here. I have not seen Northmore in person. I know that they've had a couple of nice upset wins within the league. Pleasant, to me, they're a great, well-rounded team, that they have nice perimeter pieces. I think when you see their top 2 scorers, that they're certainly standouts, and I could picture a program like that, like the coaching staff as well, making a nice run. They've tested themselves outside of the league, and then playing in the MOAC too. They get some good looks against teams like Shelby and Clear Fork, some of those top tier teams. So I think that they could be a tough out for somebody in this tournament as well.
Yeah, and you know, if they do what they're supposed to, they won't get a test until Amanda Clear Creek in a district semifinal, and then maybe Johnstown or Mechanicsburg in a district championship. And as our next guests are getting ready, if Adam, you can pull up the bottom half of the Central 1 bracket in D3 real quick. That's where we have Cardington and Centerburg in there, but we could have a possible district semifinal matchup for part 3 of those two. As Centerburg is they decided to take, as the 5 seed, they took a sectional bye. They'll play in a sectional championship against either Worthington Christian or Gahanna or Columbus Academy. And on Division III Central 1, Adam, it'll say bottom half. So Centerburg right there at the top of it, and then you see at the bottom, Cardington taking on the 20 seed, and then you have Bishop Reedy and Elgin. So there is a chance for part 3 of that K-Mac championship matchup in a district semifinal, which I gotta be quite the district semi.
What a fun matchup that would be, getting in the tournament again, Cardington and Centerburg. Fantastic K-Mac rivalry game, so I'd be rooting for that one, of course. We'll be there. Checking that one out.
We would, yeah, definitely.
No question we would ever miss that one. So, you know, there's a lot of intriguing matchups all the way around in these last couple of brackets that we just looked at. But we heard Coach Vukovic say earlier that it's really tough to get to the top of the mountaintop. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Well, our next guest, they practice and they live there every single day, fresh off of a practice and 5 straight wins, I might add. Please welcome in members of the Upper Sandusky Lady Rams and their head coach, Jerry Bent. What's going on out there, guys? Pretty late for a practice, I gotta say. I mean, it's a school night here. We're pushing 9 p.m. Are you drawing special powers from the moonlight, or why do you feel like you gotta get in the work after hours there on the hardwood and upper?
Well, our sectional final game is going to be played at 7 o'clock at night, so we were like, we might as well practice at that time to get used to that. But no, actually, our boys practice early tonight because they have a game tomorrow, and then our freshmen hosted a game right after the boys practice, so we had to go after our freshmen boys had their home game. So pulling a late night, but these young ladies will go home and get some good shut-eye after this. So.
Do you girls, are you late night owls anyways? Do you typically do some of your best work after hours?
Oh, yeah.
And we got this Grace Walton and Addie Newman, of
Yes,
course, hanging
yes.
out with us here along with Coach Vent, who's in the background.
Or as
He's
we'd
been
like to call her, Newman!
Yeah, what a great call that was. What a big shot that was earlier in the year. I was just checking out the TikTok account today. I think that baby's been watched like 60,000 times, so kind of legendary out there on our social media. So yeah, that's right, Grace. You guys got a lot of eyeballs on you, and you've been winning a lot of games here as of late, hitting a hot streak. How much fun is it practicing right now and just being a part of the team when things are going well and the winning ways, they're starting to accumulate here?
It's pretty fire, actually. Practices are a lot of fun, and the girls, we got a lot of energy, we got a lot of momentum right now.
Tell me about just before tournament draw, you guys coming together, playing your best basketball. What about like the alchemy of this roster and just your play on the court has allowed you to start putting together these wins in bunches?
I feel like the team has a lot of chemistry this year, which is really helping us. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just watching this. It's kind of entertaining.
Just checking out your own highlights, and it's just like it's mesmerizing, right? That's how well the girls have been playing. You've been clicking out there on the floor together. Grace has been knocking down some big shots, and coming into this season, Grace, you kind of knew that you were going to be the featured offensive weapon, and from night one in your home opener, you've been putting up some pretty big numbers. So do you feel like you've been kind of like filling the big shoes that were left by a couple of those seniors that graduated? And what else do you want to add to your game to continue the evolution?
I don't know. I think this year we've really been focusing on a lot of like ball screens and handoffs and stuff like that. And I think the girls do a great job of everybody playing their role. And I don't think it's not just like me scoring. It's a lot bigger than that.
Yeah, I'll just add to that.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Jerry.
I was just going to say, I'll add to that. I mean, that's part of the reason why we won 8 and 9 and, 9 of our last 11 is just the idea that, I think a lot of people kind of forget that we, lost 4 players from our roster last year. And over the last 2 years, we've lost a total of 8 players. So we really only have kind of these 2 as our returning experience when it comes to varsity level basketball. So, it took us a little while early in the season to figure out how we needed to use the talents that we had, especially how teams were guarding us because, we were facing a lot of stuff that not a lot of other teams have to see night in and night out. So it's a testament to these girls because they just came in and keep working hard. And, we're figuring some things out here late in the season, right as we head into the tournament.
And I saw that Buckeye Central just knocked off Colonel Crawford tonight. So you guys are just 1 game back of both the Lady Eagles and Carey in the Northern 10. Does this feel like you got like some new life here down the stretch? Because you still get the Blue Devils one more time.
Yeah, no, anything can happen really. We're still playing. Nothing's totally decided yet. So.
Who is the biggest rival right now of Lady Rams basketball? When you circle the teams on the calendar at the beginning of the year, who do you put like a big red circle around that you just cannot wait to go head-to-head with them?
Definitely Wynford.
What is it about the royal blue that kind of gets your blood curdling?
Well, they're a good program, stuff like that, but especially last game that we played them, it's kind of like not going to use the word revenge, but it'll be nice to get a win tomorrow.
We hope that you guys are paying attention to the OH Report out there on a weekly basis. And we got a new show, Joe's Show, and we got a segment called Coach B's Ballers, which is the best individual achievement one single game for the week. And your teammate, Madison Hart, was just named our baller for last week thanks to a fan vote. Is that something that you guys notice out there and that you're talking about? Or do you try to put some of the press stuff behind you and just focus on yourselves?
Oh, we like walk in the locker room.
Yeah.
We're like, Madison, you see it? You see it, kid?
Hey, yeah.
Well, Brian, I'll be honest. That's the first I've heard of this, so I had no idea.
Well, we knew about it. We have Instagram.
Great job by
appreciate you
Madison.
girls for keeping up with us here on the OH Report. And Jerry, obviously behind the scenes, you see him behind the camera. You can't pay attention to a lot of things, so that's okay. Just keep playing on the sidelines and getting those wins, Coach Vent. But I have some questions for you girls since we have you here, just about, kind of who fits what role on the team, because we were just hearing from Grace about what she thinks that she brings to the equation. We know, of course, Addie, she's a knockdown shooter, plays some good defense. So tell me, who's kind of like the brainiac on the squad? Who's the real smart kid that you would go to for some homework advice?
Not one of us.
Yeah.
It's me. They come to me.
I was going to say, yeah.
Okay. Hey,
In
nothing
general,
wrong with that, Jerry. I mean, obviously, being the veteran leader in there in the locker room, it's good that you can bring some of that. Who's the class clown on the team?
Probably Ellie Ham.
Yeah, yep, Ellie Ham. 15.
Hamming it up.
Makes sense, yeah, with the last name. Who's the team mom?
What was that?
Who would you say is the team mom?
Ooh. Bryn Cundiff, probably,
Yeah.
I'd have to say.
All right, what
Good
about the
knockdown
team
shooter.
snackster that's always kind of bringing around snacks, maybe some, I don't know, some candies and stuff. It's just, in general, just always just trying to hand out different kind of treats.
Probably Brooke Finscali.
Yeah.
And then my producer, Adam, says it's actually him. He's always trying to offer you guys gummy worms and gummy
Yeah.
bears.
Oh, wait, Adam's
We got
Yeah,
Adam
he's
behind the scenes. He's our Jerry
He's
Vent here
listening
at the
to you
OH
right now.
Report.
Yeah.
All right, best overall athlete, a kid that you feel like you could maybe hand a golf club to and it would go well. They can run, jump real high.
Oh, definitely Addie. Definitely Addie. You seen her play dodgeball? It's crazy.
I have not. We're going to have to get some video submission clips for that, maybe for the next Ballers. What about the best hairstylist on the team? Who gets everyone's braids nice and tight and ready for game night?
Well, our one last year, actually, Coach's daughter went to cosmetology school, so we're kind of trying to find somebody to fill those shoes now.
Yeah.
So,
And then last but not least, who is the best handshaker on the team?
handshaker? Well, definitely probably Hope. She's the one that does it in the introductions and stuff like that. So,
All right, let's check out the tournament draw that just happened yesterday, and you guys know where you're sitting in the brackets now. Travis, he likes to devour these things. He'll be looking at them for weeks on end. So let's break this down and see what your thoughts are. The number 4 seed in the Shelby District. Do you feel like you were properly rated as a number 4 squad?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, this question is for Coach Vent, who's doing his best John Cena impersonation right now. You can't see him. Coach, I know some coaches like to go for a sectional semifinal just to get that extra game in, but you as the 4 seed, you and Crawford, the lone of the top 4 to take the bye. What was going into that thought process to not take that sectional semi, get a couple extra days off, and then go for the final?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big guy when it comes to preparation and so forth. I just think it's a good chance for us to kind of focus on ourselves for a few days that week and then really get into what our opponent is and start preparing for them. I just think it's nice to have that a little bit of break heading into the tournament rather than, we play the Saturday before to prep for an opponent and then prep for a possible sectional final opponent. I just think it's a little bit. It just gives our girls a little bit of a break mentally, physically. The first couple of days of that week, we can just kind of focus on ourselves. And then, like I said, start preparing for whoever our opponent is. So that's my mindset on it. worked out pretty well for us last year. Took care of business against Willard in the sectional final, and then had a good game against Clear Fork in the district semi. So, that's kind of my thought process.
And I see you took the lone team out of 4 others to go on the side of Margaretta. That could be a possible district semifinal matchup. Was there any thought process of going away from the top seed, or are you guys just saying, hey, let's get a win and then let's go right after the best?
Yeah, I mean, we've been thinking about it for a couple of weeks what we were going to do. I mean, for a while we were the 5 seed, so we weren't sure exactly where, if we were going to have the opportunity to take a bye and where that all might fall out. And then, even going into Friday night with our Bucyrus game, there was a chance that we could probably switch with Wynford between 4 and 5. But luckily we stayed on the 4 line, and, we gave it a lot of thought as to where we wanted to go. Just think this is the best route for us to be able to make it out of the district, to be honest. So don't want to give out too much thought process on it, but that's kind of what we were thinking.
It's good enough for me.
Well, you guys are still a couple of weeks away from getting into tournament play. The big-time tournament, of course, that goes down in America, the Super Bowl. This is the week. It kicks off on Sunday. For you girls, are you guys kind of sick of hearing about the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift thing, or do you feel like they're America's new power couple, and it's been pretty interesting to follow along with this entire thing?
It's Super Bowl Swifty 3.
Personally, I'm a little sick of it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, but don't tell everybody that.
You just did.
Yeah,
I
it's
can
too
hear
late,
what I
Grace.
did.
It's on wax now. It's out there on video for the world to see. Are you big NFL fans? Are you going to be paying attention, or are you more just there for the Super Bowl snacks and the commercials?
I mean, I'll watch it for
Yeah.
the event, but I'm not a big fan of either team, really.
Well, Grace,
the
I remember
Lions
you
made
had
it.
to work on Thanksgiving when we interviewed you at the beginning of the year. Are you going to have to work on Super Bowl Sunday?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Say it ain't so. Dang, girl. Well, hopefully you got a lot of paper going in those pockets right now, collecting
Yeah.
about as much as you are with the wins out there at Upper. So I know it's a school night. We've been keeping you way too long. Appreciate the time. Best of luck to you girls moving forward. We'll be seeing you at the mountaintop again here real soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Addie Newman, Grace Walton, and
John
Cena, a.k.a. Jerry Vance. Pretty cool talking to those kids fresh off of a late practice. And how about the reason for them practicing late, knowing that they're going to have that 7 p.m. tip-off time, of course, for the tournament. And already, look at that. Just they find out their tournament destiny yesterday, and they're getting locked in. Even though now with the Colonel Crawford upset tonight with Buckeye Central knocking them off, they might have more to play for down the stretch than they even thought heading into tomorrow.
Yeah, that's just... This is a team that can make a run, I think. They've had the experience. They played Margaretta tough. They lost their 2 top scorers, but they still have 2 really good point guards. And Northern 10's not out of the question for them yet. And they get hot. They continue to be hot. You never know what could happen. I like what Coach Vance said. I don't care about playing the 1 seed because I think that's the best route we can make it out of the district.
Well, I don't think anybody's survived Margaretta in a while in that district. They've kind of had the run of game. But kudos to Coach Jerry for feeling like they got the horses that can get it done this year. And, yeah, who knows, man? We'll find out. But let's finish up the show tonight, Travis. Let's talk about the big game. And we're still more than a week, or just a little under a week out here. So San Francisco, I think probably the best roster in the NFL this season. So far, they've lived up to expectations. They had a little bit of a rocky patch there at the beginning of the year, starting with the loss in Cleveland, which I saw with my own eyes, and then they lost a couple. Since then, they've probably been the best team in football, but Patrick Mahomes, the magic man, when it gets to be into the tournament time, just something kind of happens when he hits that switch. Him and Taylor's boyfriend, they seem to get it going together. So what are your thoughts, and what's your prediction for the Super Bowl on Sunday?
My prediction is you and I are going to make a lot of money.
Woohoo!
I'm on a couple Super Bowl boards already. Going to make some bets. My buddy's a Niners fan. I have a friend back in West Virginia, big Niners fan. Nobody's Kansas City fans. They've won already. I think I'm going to pull for the Niners. How can't you love Kittle? Great guy.
I do.
He's hilarious. CMC as well.
Love
Debo.
Usher, too.
And then, the halftime show, too. Ursher. That's going to be awesome.
Peace up, A-Town down.
Uh-huh. I guess I'm going to be rooting for my friend. He's been through enough heartache the last few years of San Francisco. You know, they lost the power went out in the Superdome, and they lost to the Ravens, and then they blew a lead against Kansas City in the last time they were in the Super Bowl. So I think I'm going to go with the Niners, but I'm really rooting for my pockets, my wallet.
I'm going to be doing the exact same thing. I don't like picking a lot of winners and losers when I do my bets on the Super Bowl. I tend to pick it with just some parlays of people doing some things. And if I'm going to be throwing down a reasonable bet, it's going to be on Mahomes doing something great, probably Travis Kelce doing something great, probably Christian McCaffrey to get into the end zone. So just stick with the smart picks. But I'm a little bit opposite of you in terms of if I have to go with a winner. I've got a lot of family members that are actually Kansas City Chiefs fans. My uncle grew up in Kansas, where my family kind of like started just over the border of Colorado, and then they moved out there. So I think that there's a lot of love for the Chiefs in my family that I've been a part of. So I'll be pulling for them if I have to pick one of the other teams. But I'm with you. I almost feel like now that we've had it for a whole year, this legalized gambling, that it's almost it's a labor of love, and I look forward to that even a little bit more than I probably do the actual outcome of the game. It's going to be how smart can I be reading between the lines and making the right picks.
Make a lot of sure bets in a parlay to win money, or you make 2 or 3 crazy bets that can win you a lot of money. It's that fine line. Do you do a lot of like Christian McCaffrey over only like 50 yards rushing, or Purdy only over 200 yards passing, or do you go all in, go over 150 yards rushing for CMC, 2 touchdowns, and 250 yards passing for Purdy and a touchdown, things like that. You go for your boom or bust, or you go safe and still get some money in your pocket. It's the Super Bowl. I think you go all in.
If there's one thing that we've learned about sports gambling on this particular show, it's that Yin's bets, nothing is safe. Everything's out the window.
Or your wife's bets that were even more outrageous than mine, that at least mine were like so close that you're like, why did that happen? Hers were just, here, take my money. I don't.
When you hear the conversation, sometimes I would rather got blowed out than have, my feelings blown out of my chest, losing at the end in a tough way. So
ending in push-ups.
Yeah.
But you know who is winning? Our buddy Mason Kidwell. He's staying on a Dean's List, A's and B's down in Cincinnati.
Hey, we love hearing that from.
And he runs
Plus.
his own, and he runs KMAC Plus too. I mean, that's how you get your rankings, your breakdowns. Other than us, other than from me, KMAC Trav, KMAC Plus is the place to go to.
Tell the
Congrats
young
to him.
high school kids keep dreaming, because they sure do come true. In this episode, it's been a dream come true hanging out with all of you here on a Monday night. The first time in about a month that we've got a chance to see each other.
New set. We're getting
it together around here.
We're gonna spiff it up some more.
I got a lamp. With the soccer ball and a baseball, all sorts of stuff
You
on
love
it.
lamp.
We're going to have a lot more things coming here on the OH Report, including a ton of live streams coming up this week. So make sure every morning that you're checking in and seeing what we have on the docket for you, including Wednesday, all new episode of Joe's Show. Thursday, another episode of The Takedown. Wednesday as well, our Coach's Corner, where we're going to have Colonel Crawford boys and girls basketball in. So that should be a really awesome episode. So just keep it locked in right here on the future of local sports. But for now, it's late. It's almost 9 o'clock.
I need to eat.
Get out of
Dinner
here.
time.
Get to bed, kids. It's a school night.
If it's something nasty.